We have a spur gear, 54 tooth for the Rustler VXL. It is a aluminum alloy metal, comes in a nice package bag, and here's everything that you need. Please do not lose the 3 screws. They're just loosely in there. And what we're going to do is show you step by step on how to take them apart and change out that spur. This is an H 2.0. It's located that you need to take this spur and pinion cover off so you could do your mesh at the end. Put back your screw, your bolt, so you don't lose it. H 2.5 is going to be needed for over here next to the spur gear cover. Remove both bolts, put to the side. You're going to turn upside down and remove these 2 bolts off and place them to the side for a second. Do not mix them up. The tops are shorter, the bottoms are longer. Carefully lift up, and we're going to move the back off by simply grabbing and pulling away. I'm going to replace the top 2 bolts located over here and just place in so they don't come out. Place this to the side, not needed. With the 2 long bolts, I'm going to turn upside down and place this in the area so I know they are in this area of not losing. The spur, it needs to come out. A little difficulty taking it off. The shaft is holding the spur, as you can see. And we have our part and place this part to the side. Before disassembly, let's make sure we got the right diameter. Everything matches up. Now we're going to take this apart. Before we do, we're not going to remove any of these. We're going to loosen up our nut so the spring and the washer could be loose, that we can get to back over here, the pin that is holding it into place, that we could slide out and take this part out and then put it back in. With an 8mm, we're going to hold and turn. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to turn this upside down, give a little press. We have 2 holes. Make sure you know where the hole in the back goes. You have your slipper clutch adjustment. It's an 8mm. You need to loosen up the grub bolt to pull this off. H 2.0 is needed. An 8mm is needed to loosen up your slipper clutch nut and your grub. You have a bar that's in one of the holes, in the inner hole, and we're ready to take off. You're going to loosen up, slide off. With the 8mm, you're going to loosen up. Remove the nut. Remove the spring if it has a washer. Carefully lift up and off your clutch. You're going to notice you have pads, and they're going to be placed back on. This is the time you're going to ask yourself, is anything worn out to be replaced? Remove the pads, put them to the side. 2.5, loosen up. With the screwdriver, you're going to just gently try to pry so you can get this area and this area up and away. Alternate and lift away. Inside we have a ball bearing we need to separate. With one of the tools that has a diameter and the bar like so, you're going to squeeze on out like so, and then remove the ball bearing. Now's the time to clean. With the ball bearing on the table, with the slipper clutch with the holes and not the flush side, place on. The pads place back on. And soon the slipper clutch pads will be replaced. Then simply take the piece, place back on like so. Do not worry about the ball bearing coming out. Replace back in. Place back your metal bearing. Place back your spring. Place back your nut. Place in each of the Allen key bolts. Use the correct parts. H2.5. Start to tighten down. The way we adjust our slipper clutch, loosen up about 3/4 of a turn, our clutch is set. Due to the worn out clutch pads, this is the reasons why you may not pop a wheelie. We want to make sure we are good and even. If things don't line up, take off and do over again. The last part is to put on your housing and make sure it's nice and tight. If you remove the whole bolt, put Loctite on. No movement, we're good. A new slipper clutch pad will be needed, and that's why you may see just a little bit of a difference in wear and movement. Placing back as simple as aligning the hole, slipping through onto the bar 4x4, and getting it into the mesh. If the mesh is off, you're going to take a 2.5 and loosen up your mesh. Make sure this is up and down, and this piece is up and down the flat end. Simply slide on and lock down. To set your mesh up, take the motor away as far as possible. A loose leaf paper placed in. Start to tighten down your bolt. You're going to apply pressure and tighten down your bolt. The slipper clutch, you apply pressure, and this way you adjust it to tighten and loosen to your liking. And the only thing I need to do now is to put my slipper clutch cover on and put everything back together, go for a test run, and see how it is.